So, did you all watch the State of the Union last night? Well, the State of the Union is not good. That's what I want to talk about today. If you didn't, I understand. A lot of people have said, I can't stand to watch that guy. It's not going to be anything but a bunch of lies and divisive comments and hate and things like that. I totally understand. But I like to listen to what the enemy has to say. And so I watched it, and I'll share a little bit of it with you. I did over on the not on the Integrative Preparedness Patreon channel. I know it might be a little bit difficult to keep things straight because we have an American Reversion channel, an American Reversion Patreon channel, and an Integrative Preparedness channel, and an Integrative Preparedness Patreon channel. All of those are for different reasons, and some of you are on all of them, and some of you are on one of them, and that's great. Wherever you are, it's just great. Just want to let you know that I put that up over there. And my question of the day was, I always have a question of the day. Maybe I'll get around to doing one of those on the American Reversion channel. I probably should, so I'll put that on my list. Every day I'll put something up there, kind of start a conversation, a daily conversation, a chat with all of our patrons over there. And today was, are we closer to a civil war? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today as a result of the SOTU. We are closer to war. Before we get into that, hey, I want to share something with you all. Here it is, the latest cup, the latest mug, I should say. The only commie idea that liberals hate. Crossed AKs. This just went up. This is our latest mug. There's that round. You know, when I showed this cup to my 12-year-old daughter, you know what she said? I really like the bullet, she says. She's not quite to the point to where she understands the difference between a round and a bullet, but that doesn't make any difference. She liked it. She really liked this. And this just got up on the website late last night, and orders are already pouring in on this thing. Matter of fact, I've already ordered a whole bunch of more mug blanks to be printed in our printing shop. We do everything in-house. Now, I'll say something. I had somebody ask me, and I want to be real clear here. Somebody said, well, where are they made? If they're made in China, I'm out. Well, I'm sorry. Try to find something that's not made in China, okay? The mugs themselves are made in China, but the printing, the design, everything. You know who designs it? I do. I design all of them. You know who prints them? I do, or my staff. Okay, but I run everything, and sometimes. So anyway, they are right here, and the message is ours. So anyway, those are available now on the stonemont.us website, and you get yours, get a bunch, get two, get one for you and your friend, get a dozen and hand them out to friends. Go over to the gun range. We had a great comment. I haven't had a chance to get back to them, and I forget on which channel it was. And they said, buy a bunch of them, take them to the gun range, and use them as voter registration giveaways. What a great idea. You take these over to the gun range, give them out to a few people, you'll be the most popular person there. So anyway, those are available now. Now, let me take a sip out of this and get started. I watched that thing last night. I was really looking forward to watching it. I know we all had our hopes of what might happen. Didn't happen, right? They must have juiced him on something. Like I saw, or Kelly read me a comment on, we watched it together, and she was kind of following along some social media while it was going on and telling me what different people were saying. And one of them says, well, he must have found Hunter's stash, the way that he is zoomed up on this. Yeah. This was probably the most aggressive, hateful, divisive, or divisive, depending on where you went to school, State of the Union address I have ever heard. This was not about the State of the Union. And we know that more and more and more and more lately that the State of the Unions are, it's a wish list. It's a look at me, look at all the great things I did. And here's all the great things I'm going to do for you, and things like that. And some are more honest than others. Some get, let me put it this way, some get closer to reality than others do. And I tell you what, you know who got closest to the reality of any that I've seen since Reagan? This guy right here. This guy right here. I'm going to talk about him more in just a minute. I didn't see and I didn't watch Trump's. I guess he had a play-by-play kind of talking about it while it was going on. I did read a headline saying that, well, it wasn't, he was kind of laid back. He was kind of this, he was kind of that. It wasn't the bombastic Trump that we're used to, and I think maybe many people were hoping for. And I think that the way he did it, I mean, from what I hear, I haven't seen it, was probably right. We don't need. He's playing the statesman. He's cooling it. He's toning it down. He's going to appeal, I think, to a lot of people that he lost last time, and that's good because we need him. We need him to win this. And I tell you, Victor Davis Hanson, if you all are familiar with hearing him, and I'm a big fan, there's not many thinkers out there today that surpass Victor Davis Hanson. And he made a statement recently. As a matter of fact, I jotted it down on my list of titles for videos to make, and I'm not going to check on it. But he said this is probably our last chance to save our country, this election, and that's only if Trump wins. Okay, and I'll say right now, if Biden wins. And don't fool yourself. He could, and he could if our side doesn't show up. Say more about that in a minute. If he wins, it's over. It is over. I've never thought this before in my life, but our republic is over if Biden wins. It is. There's no chance coming back, and don't doubt that. So let's get back to his speech, and then I'll say a couple more things after that. It was horrible. It was hateful. It was accusatory. Not in a joking manner as some have done in the past. Every president who gives a State of the Union address will make semi veiled derogatory comments towards the other side. We wanted to do this, but they stopped us anyway. Well, this was just hateful. This was the true Biden that many people have not seen. First off, don't underestimate this guy. Our side has a tendency to take great well, we love to talk about what a doddering old fool he is. This guy may not be smart. He has been described as the stupidest senator there's ever been, but he is a politician. He is smart in the ways of politics. Okay, he has used this. There has never been a senator, probably, who has been thumped more often and come out smelling like a rose, come out like he wanted to. Okay, don't underestimate this guy. I've said before, he could win, and he could. You have to do something to stop that. We all do. So anyway, through his speech, it was just one hateful thing after another, and one wish list. He's going to give money here, and he's going to give money there. Probably the thing that stood out immediately to me was, a State of the Union, for the most part, hey, State of the Union is strong. Here's what we've been doing. You kind of gradually lead into what they're going to say, and then they punch it. He punched it from the gate. He said he started by saying that. Well, first off, he was late. Obviously, every Democrat is late. Okay, that shows you something. Being late's rude. It's irresponsible. It shows you don't have your stuff together. And he was late. And then he didn't even. He just got up there and he handed the speeches up to Mike Johnson, the speaker, and what's her name, the VP. Have you seen the size of her hands, by the way? Just saying. Is there more going on than just Big Mike? We don't know. What's her name? What is her name? Gosh. What a miracle. What a blessing that I have forgotten her name. So he didn't even wait. You know, you're supposed to hand the speech, and then the speaker is going to say, "It is my high honor and distinct pleasure," or something like that to introduce it. Well, he didn't even wait for that. He just turned around and started talking. What a buffoon. Well, one of the first things that he said was, however many years ago, in 1941, another president stood at this podium and convinced the American people of what was going on in Europe. And of course, he was talking about the so-called, situation with Hitler. And by the way, I'm putting some stuff over on the Patreon channel that is, shall I say, offering alternate information concerning that situation for those of you who are willing to learn. Okay, but anyway, he says, and to convince Congress. That other president, to convince Congress and the people of the United States, I'm not quoting directly, of the need for us to become involved in Europe and stop the whatever, however he put it, the encroaching monster, whatever. Okay, that showed me, okay, this is all about Ukraine. This is all about Ukraine. He didn't talk about the border, oh gosh, until a lot much later, and there's something interesting about that, but his main focus was, this is what it's about, folks. This is what it's about. It's about Ukraine. The whole thing is about Ukraine. Of course, now we're sending our military over there to build a port off the coast of Gaza so that we can supply Hamas with more supplies, right? Oh, no, he would say. That's not to support Hamas. It is not to resupply Hamas. It is to give the people humanitarian aid. You remember how we did that in Somalia? What was that joker's name over there? Well, we sent all that stuff over to Somalia. It never got to the people. It got to the warlord, right? Same thing's happening here. We are resupplying Hamas. Now, interesting, and I'll say right up here, I'm not a huge supporter of Israel. Okay, now they may be a strategic ally in the region, but don't ever fool yourself to think that they are a friend. They are not. And I have known, I know people, or used to, haven't been in touch for years in the IDF and other aspects of Israeli, of them. Okay, I'll just leave it there. And they're sharp people, good, sharp, competent people, but their goals don't always match with ours. Are you aware of that? Okay. So anyway, whatever's going on over there, it's much deeper than any of us will ever know. What I do know is that we are sending our people, our military, to be involved in stuff that we have no business being involved in. We need to stay out of it. We're supporting Ukraine, the most corrupt government and country there has ever been. Okay, and it's corrupt because it has done things for us. Now you can say, well, I've said this before. I tell you, there is no more corrupt government that I've ever been aware of than our own. And that doesn't mean that all the people in the government are, whether it's a civilian or military or law enforcement or whatever. There are some fine people that have served because they go there to serve their country and their community and things like that. But when you get deep enough into the monster, the corruption is just beyond what most Americans would believe. Okay, and we plant seeds of corruption all around the world, and that's how the deep state, that's how the people behind the deep state, that's how they make money. Simple as that. Okay. Now, so he went on and on. So this is about Ukraine. The danger here. Oh, let me add this on too. And then I watched the pathetic response from the Republicans. Okay. What was her name? Something Britt. Katie Britt, is that it? She's the new senator from Alabama. I'm sure she's a very nice person. I don't know. She came off stilted. She came off like she was acting. She did not come off as if she was delivering a heartfelt message. She was. She smiles at the wrong time. It was painful to watch her. Kelly and I both went, oh my gosh. She reminded us of a woman who used to work for us, who was one of these. As when she was on, she was like, hey, you couldn't, and it wasn't heartfelt at all. And this Brit, I don't know, she could be a fine person. I have no idea, but she came off horribly, horribly. And I was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to a response that would really get them riled up. Now, what the Republican Party, let me throw some advice out here to the Republican Party and anybody else who's interested. The Republican Party has a knack of hurting itself with these response speeches. They always put up someone who they think, or they're trying to position as the next rising star. Okay, so let me point this. Now, there's been a couple of good ones, but there have been some horrendous ones, and this shows that the Republican machine, they're divorced from reality. They just don't understand these things. Now they picked her because okay, he was the oldest old white guy, and she is the youngest female. Okay, they probably, if they wanted to really play the game, they could have, played the race game and thrown on. Oh well, there's several African American that people want to say. I say black because that's white and black. They could have played that. They didn't. But let me think about, remember Marco Rubio, they put him up. He was the rising star, the young guy who was going to give his rebuttal, his speech after the State of the Union. Remember him and the water bottle? He kept looking down. You could see him looking down at the water, and finally he reached over and got himself a drink. That destroyed him. That ruined his career. Now, the thing is this. Let me jump off to a side spur here for just a minute. Rubio is an extremely smart guy. Extremely. He's got his issues, some personal issues. Extremely smart guy. He ruined himself with that, and then he came back. And when he was debating with Trump, remember, he was running for president. It was way too soon. He wasn't ready, and the Republicans have a tendency to jump the shark on these things. He wasn't ready, so he ran for president. Remember when he tried to make the issue of Trump's small hands? That was so. It was horrible. I can't think of the word that I would describe it with, but that was just so petty. And people said that's what he's gonna do. So people lost a lot of respect for him. And I watch him now, and he's much more settled down. If he had waited until about now, he would have made a great vice presidential pick for Trump, and maybe a great presidential candidate next time. Same thing that DeSantis did. He got in too early, and he showed his cards that he would not. He ran against a guy who made him. So he's destroyed himself forever. He's not coming back. And then, do you remember another great hope? The great Indian hope for the Republican Party to go after the minorities and all that, Bobby Jindal. Do you remember him? Do you remember that horrendous rebuttal speech that he gave? That ruined him. Have you heard much about Bobby lately? No. That took him into the toilet. It didn't serve the purpose. Well, maybe it did. Maybe it did. Maybe the Republicans are just pursuing their historical self-destruction. So maybe they did. Maybe they didn't want somebody good. Well, who they should have had is somebody like Kristi Noem, who would have taken it to him and done a great job. What's her name? Gabbard. Even though she's not, that would have been historical, wouldn't it? Even though she is not a Republican, they could have brought Gabbard on. She would have done great. She would have tore him a new one. But no, let's throw up somebody who comes out about as authentic as somebody with a paper mask on. It was too bad. She might be a a nice person. She might be a smart person. I have no idea. But she sucks as a speaker in this. I don't know. She won the Senate seat, so maybe she does better in person. But as far as sitting down behind a microphone, in front of a microphone, it was terrible. And her attempt to sound homey and southern and all that with her phony sounding, bless his heart, that was ridiculous. Okay. This because of, but I tell you, don't underestimate Biden. That was a speech to his base, okay? It may not have won anybody else, but remember that everybody thought he was in danger of possibly being replaced as the Democrat candidate for this election. No way now. He knew he was fighting for his life, or his handlers did. So they got him up, they juiced him up, and he gave a speech that solidified his base. There is no way they're replacing him with anybody now unless he is. He did that a lot. Excuse me, it's still early in the morning. And I don't usually talk this loud. That's probably what my throat is going. Why are you talking so loud, man? You know, you're not like this. You're usually all laid back and stuff. But anyway, unless he is physically unable to run for whatever reason, and that could be several. Okay, that could be several. I can see a scenario. Let me just put it this way. Do you remember when Reagan got shot? You know what a hero that made him in so many people's eyes. His re-election was assured. Just follow this down. I'm not gonna paint it in bright colors. You gotta follow this. He became a Teflon president because he got shot. He became a hero. Even people that didn't like him go, oh yeah. What if something bad happened to Biden? We certainly don't want that. We certainly don't want that. First off, if it was something like Reagan, he would be assured to win. Trust me, he would. And if it turned out worse than it did for President Reagan, I think that would be used to such benefit for the Democrats that whoever they put up, they could put up a real Mr. Potato Head. By that I mean the toy, and win, because of the Fuhrer. By that I don't mean der Fuhrer. I mean the Fuhrer that would explode, and how it would be used. That would be, in my mind, very possibly, a certain win for the Democrats. So do not, trust me on this, do not think that Biden can't win or another Democrat can win. They can. Okay, now, where do we go from here? This is the thing. What do you need to do? Have you ever been, I bet you most of you have you been in a selection process, and the guy up there says, look to your right and look to your left. In 3 weeks, one of those people is not going to be here. And in 6 weeks, neither is the other one. And remember that they're looking at you, and you could be the other. You remember this? Okay, yeah. Well, the way the Republicans lose and the way the country loses, because this is the last chance for our republic. Only if Trump gets in do we have a chance. That doesn't mean that he might solve everything. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. I don't know. Maybe he can knock it back far enough to where we have a chance to reclaim what our country once was and is supposed to be. If somebody comes in after him that is able and is able to continue his programs and has the support of the people. That's the key. Okay. Trump is the only chance this republic has to survive. Period. By the way, share this with everybody you know, everybody you can, because they need to hear this. But if we lose, you know those friends of yours you have that just won't be involved in politics? You got one on the right and one on the left, right? The one on the right says, all politics is crooked. They're selected, not elected. I'm not being a part. Well, it's selected because you don't vote. You didn't do a damn thing to help. You didn't do the most basic responsibility. You didn't fulfill the most basic responsibility of citizenship in this country. You didn't vote because you were just too good. You were too smart. Oh, you knew all about it. Oh, those people who vote, they're suckers, right? You suckers, don't you realize that none of this matters? Way to excuse yourself from any responsibility and try to look like you're so smart you're above it all. Okay? And then the other guy who won't stand up, the guy to your left or right, whatever. The other guy that says, well, I don't know, I don't like Biden, but I just don't like the way that Trump acts, and I think that blah, 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 blah. Well, I'll tell you what, if we lose that, it's because of your friends who didn't vote. That's why Trump lost, if you believe he lost. Right? Last time. That's why. Don't blame the other person who's trying to beat you. Blame the person who didn't stand up for what they claim they believe in. Okay? Yeah, tough words, big words. I hate what's going on in this country, but I won't vote. I don't think I'm too good for that. I'm too smart. I don't. It doesn't make any difference. My vote doesn't care. Doesn't count. Okay, those are who you blame, and you'd better blame those. And now, remember that they're looking at you too. I hope it's not you. I hope you're not the one who doesn't go out there and do everything you can. You know what? You might be surprised. Was it yesterday? And was it on this channel to where I wore my Confederate cap? And I had somebody leave a comment. It says, I really like your cap. I have several like that, but I don't wear them out in public because I don't want to, start any trouble. So I don't remember exactly what they said. My response to him is, every time I wear that cap out in public, I get so many compliments on it. You might think, are these just the rural white ragers that compliment you? No, they're not. They're little old ladies. They're normal guys, stopping by the Home Depot to get the next thing that they need for their concrete or carpentry job. They are even black guys. Does that surprise you? I am not at all hesitant to wear clothing and caps that show what I believe out in public. So you see, I consider that one of my responsibilities. It's a way that I can have an effect beyond just, sitting around and keeping my mouth shut. Okay, so one of the things I do is I make videos here. I try to get the word out, and then I go out with messages. Right? One more segment, I'll continue. I go out with messages. And when I wear the Trump cap that I'm wearing right now, I get so many thumbs up. Yeah, I like your cap, all that. You know what that does? It spreads the message. It lets any libs that might be around there know, hey, there's this guy. He's not ashamed. He is bringing it out here. And you know what? I have never had anybody speak against it, and I'm sure I've had a lot of people that hated it. That's all right. You know what? You know what happened there? I shut them down. They didn't keep their mouth shut because they're polite, because they're not polite. They kept their mouth shut because they knew, here's somebody who is out there, going to put it out there, and if I say anything about it, he might just come back and take me on, and you know what? I would. Anybody that came up to me like this and made a derogatory comment about this, or my other one, or if I wear a Confederate t-shirt, they're getting a history lesson. And they're getting a lesson they're not going to like. And I enjoy it. I look forward to those opportunities to share the truth, because the truth will set you free, right? So, this is the thing. Wear that stuff out there. Wear it. Now, I don't suggest you wear it when you go eat at a restaurant or when you're going through a drive-through. You know, if I go through a drive-through, I take my cap off. I put it. I don't want to eat somebody else's spit. Simple as that. Okay, because that's the kind of people these are. But if I'm just going out and I'm not going to eat anything, and then I also keep an eye on, you know, my car, if somebody's going to key it. I've had my vehicles, we've had our vehicles keyed a couple of times. Okay, all right, you know, take it for the team. Get out there. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. We are headed for war. Biden in his speech let us know that in no uncertain terms. How am I doing on time here? Oh, I'd better get. And get out there and do your part, okay? America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. Get out there, be a part of it. Buy a mug. We got more on the website, stonemont.us, that takes our message. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.